energy. I do want to thank Sue Hughes-Smith and the Rocktricity team that have helped give us answers, give community members answers. Assistant to the supervisor, Bridget Monroe, who's been on the phone just for hours on end doing the same thing. We are going to continue to advocate for the residents of Brighton that received these erroneous bills until there's a satisfactory resolution, period. Finally, on a personal note, one of the reasons Brighton is such a special community, a community that so many people seek to call home, is our diversity. Diversity in race, diversity in faith, in ethnicity, in so many different elements. We are a community that overwhelmingly aspires to be a place where diverse communities of people can call home, can feel safe, and can be good neighbors, no matter who your neighbor is. As much as we aspire to be that community, sometimes reality conflicts with our ideals. I became aware last week of a radio broadcast on the Evan Dawson Connection show on WXXI AM, which was entitled, "Discussing the Motivations Bringing Black Americans to the Palestinian Cause." The guests on the show included Iman Abid Thompson, the Director of Advocacy and Organizing at the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, Jonathan Khoury, Palestinian American, graduate of RIT, and Jalil Muntakin, community organizer, as well as council member Robin Wilt. Freedom of speech is also one of our ideals. Under the First Amendment, we all have the right to speak and associate freely, regardless of our race, our religion, our ethnicity, our job. Supporting the rights of people who want to live a better life also squares with who we are. But if we are to turn our community ideals into reality and maintain those ideals in the real world, in our town, in our little corner of that real world, we must always be conscious of the impact of our words. We may have the legal right to use words that delegitimize. We may have the legal right to use words that demonize, but that doesn't give us the absolute moral right to use such words. If we use words in a way that delegitimize and demonize without a conscious effort to understand their impact on our neighbors, we failed our neighbors and we failed our community. Likewise, if we fail to take notice of those words and fail to push back when they're used in our presence, there too, we failed. I listened to that show probably half a dozen times now, and I am deeply disturbed by some of what I heard. I've heard from many in Brighton's Jewish community and from others that the show made them feel afraid or even unwelcome in their own town. Some expressed that they felt targeted and demonized as Jews, or that the very existence of the state of Israel had been delegitimized. It's important to honor and recognize the impact of words and acts such as these on those who may be targeted by those words, on those who may hear those words directly. In phone calls and emails and texts that I received, members of our Jewish community made it very clear to me that statements made during the show referencing genocide, referencing a system of white supremacy tied to Ashkenazi Jews, among others, were delegitimizing and demonizing. And to me, statements like those go to the very core of anti-Semitism, and I personally denounce them. If we are to build our community on our best aspirations, We must not allow anti-Semitism to stand unchallenged, any more than we can allow demonizing statements directed at other communities or other people to stand unchallenged. We must all do better. We cannot solve the problems of the world here in Brighton, but we can and we must work together to bring people together rather than to divide them. We'll now go on to the open forum. The open forum is an opportunity to address the town board about matters, whether or not they're on our agenda this evening. We may not respond to your questions if you have questions, particularly if they relate to matters not before the town board. But I assure you that we listen and we take your input seriously. If you would like to address the board during the open forum, as I mentioned before, you must join the meeting on Zoom if you're not already doing so. Please use the raised hand function in Zoom if you do intend to speak during the open forum. And I would ask if there are people who would like to comment on the idea plan presentation that you heard, if you can do so first, so that our consultant will be here and continue to hear those comments and guide our work forward. As always, each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. I will advise speakers when they have 30 seconds left. I would ask that speakers please address their comments to the board, not to other speakers. Please do not use the open forum to make personal attacks of any kind. Our goal here tonight and our goal during the open forum held at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully to your input. So again, I'll ask if there is anybody, particularly initially, if there is anybody that would like to address the board relating to the presentation you heard earlier tonight on the idea plan, to please use the raised hand function in your Zoom page, and you will be unmuted and have the chance to address the board. So with that, Bridget, if you would admit if there is anyone that would like to address the board during the open forum, and again, initially specifically as it relates to the idea plan. I take it, Bridget, from the silence that there is no one who has initially raised their hand.
There is a raised hand, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize. I thought I had unmuted myself. The first speaker, and she has her hand up, is Rachel Rasner.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rachel.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My comments aren't directly related to the IDEA presentation, but they are connected based on what you just said, Supervisor. I am disgusted and appalled at the remarks that you just made regarding Councilmember Wilt. Everything that you just accused the people on that radio show of doing, you just did to her and the people who spoke on that radio show and the thousands of people in this city and across this country and world who agree with that perspective. If you want to welcome all voices in this town, you welcome all of them. I am absolutely shaking here and embarrassed and humiliated that those words came out of the mouth of the supervisor of the town in which I live for the last 20 years and pay taxes. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Thank you. Is the next speaker, please?
The next speaker is Mike Boucher.
Mike, go ahead. Mike, you're muted.
Thanks, Supervisor Maley, Town Council members, and other elected officials on the call. I was going to say that one of the reasons I was sticking around tonight is that I knew there were calls from the community that were unfairly targeting Councilmember Wilt, asking you all to kind of take some of the allegations very seriously against her of what had been said. And I was encouraging you not to do that because of her role in this community and the how she has served us. And you know, I guess I'm really I don't even know what to say with the arguments that if we're going to talk about words that delegitimize and demonize without conscious impact, I really wish those would be considered for all the words that have been said. And that those would all be actually spoken to in some way or another, and not just singling out certain words or certain people's words. So I too actually feel kind of caught off guard by some of those initial remarks. I want a Brighton that is safe, secure, livable for everyone who's involved. And that includes our council members, that includes our supervisor, that includes members of the community. And I don't see that as being present, given some of the remarks that have been made in the past week by official organizations that are speaking on behalf of the Jewish community and some grassroots organizations. I understand that there are differences of opinion, but again, you use the words delegitimizing and demonizing, and I think those have certainly been present in conversations at official levels this past week.
Thank you, Mike. The next speaker, Bridget?
Yes, we don't have anyone with their hands up, so I'm just going to be calling them as I see them on my screen. The next speaker is Pamela Kim Adams.
Go ahead, Ms. Adams.
Yes, I'm also here for the same reason. I'm absolutely appalled, sickened. I'm on vacation right now, and I came on this meeting because I knew it might come to this. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that, you know, we just listened to these presentations on the IDEA board. And, you know, after that, you know, the remarks from the supervisor were just completely off base. You know, this is beyond, I don't even know what to say about it really. You know, it's like gaslighting an entire community, and you know, really triggering for some of us who have experienced that in our personal lives, I will say, to see this on a mass scale in our own town. The other thing I want to say is that, you know, this support and protection seems to be very one-sided. You know, what happened, where was the protection for Robin Wilt, for Iman, for other people, for Rachel, you know, who lived in fear all summer, all fall because of what the target attacks coming from this community. You know, nobody spoke up for them. So why is it that, you know, these three people, you know, Jaleel, Iman and Robin go on this show to express their experience, their views, and suddenly they're the ones attacking people and making people feel unsafe? I don't get it at all. And I'm extremely outraged. You know, I'm not usually one to speak off the cuff. I always prepare if I'm going to speak, but I'm just so angry and so disgusted, really.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Iman Ibid Thompson.
Go ahead, Iman.
So I had no plans on speaking, Supervisor Maley, until you called me out directly for using my opportunities and my platform to speak on the Palestinian perspective. And in the last few weeks, I reached out to you and the town board, each town board member, asking to meet with the Palestinian community so that you could all have a conversation with every one of us who lives in your community and beyond, so that we could discuss not only the harassment, but the discriminatory practices and issues we have faced in the last 8 to 9 months in your town. And what you each chose to do was ignore me. Every one of you but Robin Wilt ignored me. When I sought help and sought guidance, each and every one of you ignored me besides Robin. What that says to me after I've now heard your statement is that you have chosen to be discriminatory, not only towards Palestinians, but others who are choosing to stand in solidarity with Palestine. We too are your constituents, and you have chosen to ignore us. And that's not just about ignoring. At this point, this is outright discrimination against Palestinians who have asked to sit down with you and have a cordial conversation about the harms that we have all felt. But instead, we're being vilified. We have been vilified. And what I am absolutely appalled by is that you are choosing to stand by a certain set of the community instead of the entire community. You have been very loud and clear in both your actions and inactions. We have heard you, we have seen you, and it is an absolute disappointment to say that the town of Brighton is within my hometown. I'm absolutely appalled by the statements, and each and every one of you is a reason behind why others will have chosen to vilify us in my own community, and why any sort of level of hate crime could be increased against us when we see that no one is standing beside us and we are being silenced in the way that you are trying to silence, of which you will never silence us. I just want to acknowledge that. You will never silence us. I'm just absolutely appalled. It is so disheartening to know that we are being ignored and you are sitting here only vilifying Palestinians when I have addressed the anti-Palestinian bigotry we have witnessed in your community.
30 seconds. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jess Fleming.
Hi, I've been listening on YouTube, and I felt inclined to join into this meeting on the Zoom link after hearing what I consider to be the messaging that Robin Wilt among the Palestinian community, the Black community within Brighton, and the greater community experiences in Brighton is not new. This messaging that from this supposedly diverse and accepting community that presents one side, and that side is not the side of the majority of even the Jewish community, right, within Brighton. And this has been going on. This has been going on for how long, right? How long? And all of this mudslinging, attacks or attempts at attacks and discrediting Robin's message. It's really embarrassing. It's the reason I have actually chosen to raise my children in a different school district where they will experience less gaslighting of communities, of minority communities, of people of color. I'm at a loss for words because, like others, I'm not prepared. I'm just extremely angry. I'm embarrassed to be from this town, and we as a community need to know when all of this is going to stop, because it's not okay.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is James Appel.
Good evening. My name is James Appel, and I am the Messianic Rabbi at Congregation Shema Israel on Edgewood Avenue. And I've been a Brighton resident for about 35 years. And I want to thank you, Supervisor Moehle, for your